Good afternoon, everybody. This is live storm chasing mode. We do have these storms that are starting to organize across far northern Mississippi. And the tail end of that one just south of the Tennessee border, probably up in the stable there. I'm going to be headed to Ripley. You can see these little popcorn variety type storms. Isotropic lift getting forced up and over the outflow boundary that appears to be retreating to the north. So I'm going to be targeting likely this area, this storm to the west of Holly Springs. You can see that sharp gradient on the reflectivity pattern, and then it gets strung out back to the southwest. This one, a nice concave reflectivity gradient as well, even trying to show a little bit of a hook. I think it's likely going to be this one, though, just off to the south. This is going to be the most interesting. Headed. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to my weather report, live storm chase mode, having been activated. Never stop. I'm now going to be doing a pickle up toward the Ripley area. That is my game plan. It's 80 degrees here in Dominator 4. I'm on the warm side of that outflow boundary. I am heading off to the north, so I wouldn't be surprised if I do lose data coverage as I'm heading that way across rural northeastern Mississippi. But definitely an abundance of instability out here. Spring peepers are singing. Every time I go by a bog or a little pond, you hear them singing. There you go, listen to that. A lot of standing water here as well from the rainfall that came through last night, especially up into Tennessee in that flash flood watch area. But I'm heading toward northeast Mississippi, toward the Ripley vicinity. Out ahead of these storms, and allow these storms off to my west to continue to mature as they're moving toward my location just to the north of New Albany right now, Mississippi. You can see the dark sky off to my left, just over my shoulder. That's that convective line that's approaching. Yeah, listen to those spring peepers sing. Time for meet and greet. Oh yeah, it's happening. It's definitely starting to look more interesting. That's the storm near Holly Springs that is beginning to look like appendage. That's the one we're going after. Pretty straightforward target. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get that storm off to the north. It is along that outflow boundary up there. That is my plan. Ooh, yeah, that Holly Springs storm is gonna go nuts. I'm pretty intrigued on this storm. Looks interesting. Hello everybody, this is live storm chase mode. I'm headed up toward Ripley, Mississippi right now, getting in the path of that supercell that started to organize along this outflow boundary near Holly Springs, moving off to the east-northeast. 80 degrees down in the open warm sector and right along this outflow boundary. Wouldn't be surprised if these storms do develop a tornado threat. Just that one storm at least near Holly Springs has the greatest threat in the near term. So that's where I'm heading right now, heading northbound toward that storm that is moving to the east of Holly Springs right now. So I'm going to be headed up to Ripley, maybe a little bit north of Ripley as well from there. And I do think that there is a pretty high likelihood that this storm is going to at least have some tornado warnings, probably even producing some. Definitely can see that convective line. Hearing the spring peepers sing out here with temperatures here 80 degrees on this side of the outflow boundary. Every time I go by a bog or a little area of standing water, I hear the spring peepers sing. Absolute music to the ears out here. To intercept this storm along a differential heating boundary. Right now I'm north of Albany, heading north toward the Ripley area. I do expect tornado potential in a storm that's to the east of Holly Springs. I don't know if it's severe yet. It probably should. It is turning right. See it on radio. That last loop. Look at that thing. That is the condition of turning right. See if it'll be enough. It's probably going to have to yank this boundary northward a little bit. Type of a storm scale low-level jet. It does appear to be turning right, doesn't it? Organizing a little. Probably a little elevated, but we'll just have to see what happens. Ashland, Faulkner areas. You're probably just on the cold side of the boundary if I had to guess. All depends on how hard that thing can turn right. At Ripley, I can also go east-northeast toward Corinth. Might end up going east-northeast toward Corinth as well. But this storm definitely looks quite favorable. There is that east-northeast option out of Ripley. That's going to be interesting. Ripley up toward Corinth. Definitely going to keep that target play. Beautiful terrain out here. Beautiful across northeastern Mississippi. Wow. Yeah, it looks like that storm is starting to turn right and move along the differential heating boundary. I think that Ripley to Faulkner zone is going to be the most interesting. Beautiful forest land out here. Look at all the forest. Yep. Hear the peepers sing. Beautiful spring peeper. You definitely see the boundary up ahead. All those clouds. That is the differential heating boundary. We're probably about to lose our near 80-degree temperatures as I'm heading off to the north. You know how this song and dance goes. And this storm is trying to pass a little bit to the north. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Looks a little elevated to me. It does look a little elevated. It does have that sharp reflectivity gradient suggesting that it is pulling an inflow on some level. Oh, I'm straight a little bit there, interesting. Yeah, it definitely looks a little elevated. But that's probably also what it's going to take to get the dynamic piping necessary to produce a tornado. Back here, west of Ashland, that's the target storm. Starting to get that north-south orientation a little bit. That's going to be required to really torque up that rotation. I'm going to head up toward Faulkner. That's my plan. Rotation to the west of Ashland now. Yes, not as much inflow, but definitely getting some strong northerlies in that Hook region. We have a bit of a streamlined vorticity current within that hook. West of Ashland, look at that. All the red, northerlies coming in. Small chance this could develop into an elevated supercell that's able to interact with the differential heating boundary and then dynamically pipe down to the surface. It is easy to speak in generalities like that, I know. Down near Winona and Grenada, even some open warm sector storms trying to initiate. Like not a very well organized storm, but we're going to give it a shot. Temperature down to 77 as we're starting to interact with the differential heating boundary here. I chase all setups from the most marginal to the most insane. Chase everything like it's May 3rd, 1999. That's what I try to do. And I chase everything like it is May 3rd, 1999. You gotta chase hard because you never know what surprises might happen. And honestly, I prefer to chase these lower end events just because the surprises really show you what the atmosphere is capable of, even when those ingredients just come together in a very short time. But today, expectations are certainly low with regard to the tornado threat, despite the Storm Prediction Center maintaining that 5% area out across northern Mississippi and into northwestern Alabama, far southern Tennessee as well, portions of middle Tennessee, south central Tennessee. Couldn't even get that tornado threat. Coming into Blue Mountain, Mississippi. storms here before, many times. Been on storms in most of these towns. The Great Plains through the central southern U.S. Yeah, expectations are relatively low right now for this warm sector setup. I was thinking maybe along this outflow boundary or differential heating boundary, there might be an enhanced chance of tornado potential. Temperature right here along the boundary is 76 degrees, so pretty warm. Even right up here in the Blue Mountain area, even despite these clouds. D's Oil Company. 76 degrees despite these clouding. There's definitely suggests that if that storm gets going off to the north, I do think that at least this rain cool air is sufficiently shallow to easily promote dynamic piping through that shallow, stable air. Figured it was only a matter of time. It's incredibly warm, and then winter storm watches are in effect off to the north. It does look like the storm is going to be on the cold side of the boundary. Definitely. Whether or not I should go live on this one, just because chances are so low for this thing to even produce a tornado. Maybe as it gets a little bit closer to that northwest corner of Alabama, I might have a better chance out there even. I'm surprised the Storm Prediction Center retained that 5% output. Doesn't take much. I've seen tornadoes, crazy tornadoes on 2% days, and even C-Tex days with no tornado probability. Really, that's still just a human opinion on the setup. My opinion on the setup, though, is that the chances are quite low of a tornado here. And if it does happen, it's going to happen right along this differential heating boundary thing. Some initial storms can come out a little south of this one, but it's really looking like this is going to be the pivot point. A little bit of a bulge within the boundary. You can just tell how the storms look different, a little bit of a different orientation. The main axis of the storm, a lot more north-south. Definitely a disconnect between that very unstable area to the south and stable air off to the north. to 75 degrees, so we've lost about 5 degrees already since New Albany. And we're about to the 10-mile distance. And that's a differential heating boundary that we're talking about. 80 degrees off to the south, about 60 degrees on the rain-cooled side of that boundary. Might have to shift and pivot over to flash flood mode too. It's looking very low end, but I do think that if there is a chance of a tornado, it would be far northern Mississippi to northwestern Alabama along this outflow boundary, differential heating boundary. But the threat of a tornado, very low. Can't emphasize that enough. Definitely even lower than what the Storm Prediction Center outlook is showing, I believe. That's how it goes sometimes. But still, it's 75 degrees here, even right near that differential heating boundary. Pueblo looks good. Good restaurant. Does not look good. Looks very strung out. Definitely looks like it just went elevated. Yeah, this is that differential heating boundary, and the surface low is actually ejected way off to the northeast, kind of leaving the surface winds to be more of a southwest, west-southwest to an east-northeasterly type direction. Yeah, this is the differential heating boundary. You can even see a couple of those bubblers right along that outflow boundary. I was watching this storm earlier, but look at how it's getting all strung out with that appearance. And it's definitely lifting north of that boundary into the stable air. You got stable air on the north side, and you got near 80 degrees on the south side. A couple of renegades trying to develop down near Grenada. Probably be a miracle that ends up producing. Maybe some of these could have an opportunity to peel off that boundary a little bit more effectively. Yeah, I'm tempted just to drop back south to the open warm sector again. Surprisingly, the SPC maintained the 5% tornado probabilities across this area. Northern Mississippi, northwestern Alabama. But not really seeing much potential. Most of the winds are moving more southwesterly, almost parallel to that differential heating boundary now, southwest to northeast oriented boundary. I'm wondering if some of these down near Clarksdale could reinvigorate and try to peel off that line, turn into that deeper wind shear. I thought this one was going to try to latch on, but that stable air just too far south right now. Look at these bubblers that try to get going on the cold side of the boundary. Yeah, I'm tempted just to go for the ice storm now across northern Arkansas. Listen to those peepers singing out there. Definitely can hear the peepers. There's a mesoscale discussion out for the area. Watch unlikely. Isolated damaging wind gusts are possible for the next few hours. Let's see. Watch unlikely though. There is a mesoscale discussion. Knows of the instability, but that differential heating boundary actually extends all the way east out there too. So, rain cooled air up near that Tennessee-Alabama border right now. That's the mesoscale discussion. The rain cooled air is on the cold side of the boundary. Hopefully hear the spring peepers out there. Quick as live. Yeah, I'm tempted just to rip it up to the yeah, I'm watching those bubblers down south as well, headed toward the Tupelo area. If those intensify, that'd be a pretty easy target to drop down to as well. Beep, beep. Looking at the RAP analysis. See a very narrow area of 200 plus 0 to 1 kilometer shear across northeastern Mississippi, maybe into northwestern Alabama, even ahead of that storm, but just too much stable air right now for that one to move into. Could head up into the northwest corner of Alabama potentially, and then those bubblers off to the southwest, maybe those will move into some more favorable wind shear. Two hours from now, it does try to invigorate those storms and the one up in Corinth a little bit. Tries to re-intensify that storm as it moves off to the northeast, but got two options. I stick to the differential heating boundary up into the northwestern part of the state, or do I drop for those bubblers a little bit further south? There's that storm. Might it move into this environment? A little bit of surface-based instability down into northwestern Alabama. I'm leaning toward going that way, but there's also a possibility of those renegades moving up toward Tupelo as well. And you could have some marginally conducive low-level wind shear for tornado potential there. May drop toward Tupelo for those bubblers. So I'm leaning toward now. Let's go. I'm going to abandon this boundary. I'm not sure if it's the right call or not, but I think it is. The wind shear is pretty marginal. And you get even a little south of the boundary. Trying to decide what to do. I just don't know about those bubblers down there, but they might intensify. Or it could end up being that Clarksdale area storm. That one's trying to turn off and peel off the boundary just a little bit. So I think I got a couple of different target areas. You have these bubblers to the east of Grenada that could migrate up toward Tupelo, or you've got some of these higher ecotops out near Clarksdale that might try to turn right off that line. These are definitely battling stable air, exception being maybe these storms up near Walnut Grove to Collinwood. I'm leaning toward just dropping down toward those and keeping a loose eye on the Clarksdale area storm as well. Okay, I got a couple targets, these bubblers southwest of Tupelo. Maybe they'll intensify, turn off to the east-southeast. These bubblers are probably on the cold side of the boundary to the northwest of northwest Alabama. This one out near Clarksdale, maybe that'll intensify, turn off to the right, but it might be that these are the only target down here, so I'm thinking I'll probably just drop down to those. Get a supercell storm. Let me shoot a quick as live. Really hear the peepers out there. Just fired off an AsLive back there for AccuWeather. Live update, basically saying these storms along the differential heating boundary are, oh wow, look at that. Start to surge to the south. Looks like we got a little bit of a storm. You can definitely see the rain-cooled air in the distance. Look at that. Almost a shelf on it. This looks like that's a new storm that's trying to fire. Alright, you can definitely see it. Rain-cooled air getting forced up like that. Yeah, you can see that little feature. There is the storm on the far southern end. North of Blue Mountain right now. I'm in Ripley. There's that storm. I'm in Ripley right now, but low expectations.
get on the live one.
So we're just watching. Have a good one. Good to see you. Great couple of days we've had. All right. Yeah, so you can see that rain-cooled air surging off to the south just a little bit, some spin in there. That is mainly just turbulent eddies associated with this cold air that's surging south. Right now, I would say the only threat would be if that storm was able to mature near the Clarksdale area, turn right off the line, or some of those renegades to the southwest of Tupelo also might have a chance, even though it's a lot less likely down there. But a lot of rain-cooled air dominating the scene here in Ripley, Mississippi. I'm going to try to decide what to cover next. Might just have to go back toward Batesville again. Yeah, there's an ice storm that's going to impact portions of eastern Oklahoma through northern Arkansas. So I've got my eye on that right now. A lot of decisions to make now. You're going to need a storm that's moving due east in this environment for it to have a tornado. Oh no, I'm not down. I'm used to chasing these all the time. Oh. Yeah, it's moving pretty fast and not looking very likely right now, so my decision is, do I work the ice, drop down to the Renegades, work this line, maybe another one comes out of the Clarksdale area, but boy, this differential heating boundary is dominating so far. Trust me on that. Yeah, probably the ice. Maybe that storm north of Clarksdale will have a chance to turn right near Batesville. Also looking like a flood threat could be setting up. You can definitely see kind of a flash flood type situation that's beginning to play out here across northern Mississippi, even up into the Corinth area. We still got these bubblers trying to reinvigorate south of Grenada. Could get a storm out of that. It might evolve up toward the Tupelo area, but these were dying out a little bit closer to Tupelo. You can see that the rain-cooled air, that boundary has slid to the south of Blue Mountain. Yeah, it is very humid, 80 degrees, crazy weather. Gotta wonder if these Renegades are gonna take off. Not very high in terms of the echo tops. This one to the north of Clarksdale, definitely elevated, looks a little better. These are the echo tops. Watching this area north of Clarksdale, trying to organize. No velocity though. Still watching these renegades down to the south of Grenada. It might evolve up northeast toward the Tupelo area. Keeping an eye on those as well. Yeah, I'm in Ripley now. I'm not on the Weather Channel. It's impossible. Maybe AccuWeather. I should be on AccuWeather. Nice. Do you know which ASLive was it? Was it the one that I just shot with the elevated storm kind of surging south? That's a good sign. That means I'm working. Good news. I do yell, but only when things are way intense. I yell when things get really intense, and I yell very loud. Just can't help it. It's just how things go. Yeah, I just was shooting that little shelf that was sagging off to the south here from Ripley. Trying to figure out my next move. Okay. Okay. Trying to figure out what to do. Here's the ASLive that I just shot. There it is. See, so then I send that up to AccuWeather, and then they discuss it. Yeah, I could head out there, but I'm leaning toward the ice storm headed a little bit off to the west. I think it does look more substantial out there during tomorrow. I am. I'm in the Dominator 4 right now. But I am thinking about getting a warehouse out in Oklahoma, fixing up the Dominator 1 and 2. Maybe even Dominator 3. Yeah, I'm sending this up to AccuWeather. Outflow boundary sagging south, a little bit of a storm. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I may go check the ice storm. Might even drop south to some of those renegades that are trying to mature southwest of Tupelo. Sending this new AsLive though up to Accu. Now I do day rates for AccuWeather. Weather reports. Grinding. Always grinding. To never stop chasing. Yeah, I'm gonna figure out my game plan here. Do I work the flooding potential, or do I head out to the ice storm out into northern Arkansas? Those are kind of my decisions right now. I'll let you guys know. Never stop chasing. See you guys.